Hola amigos, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're doing well. We're talking cheap fragrances today, guys. 12 different cheapies that I think are absolutely amazing for their price point. Because to an extent, I grade fragrances on a curve based off of how much they cost. I feel like that makes sense. You could have a fragrance that at 30 bucks makes you the happiest man on earth. But if you paid 300 bucks for it, you're having a bad day. So you see there's a curve. Price to happiness curve. Yeah, and we're staying on the cheaper side of that curve today. All of these affordable, assuming you buy them from discounters. As I always say, if you buy them at full retail, they're not gonna be quite so cheap. But if you buy them from like Fragrance Buy or Joma Shop or wherever you like to shop at, they're gonna be a lot less. All of these are linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there and also check out these codes. Have you checked them out? Okay, good. We've got a nice mix today. I put in a couple of cologne fragrances because those are typically always inexpensive, and the better cologne fragrances are a great bang for your buck because then you're basically playing on both sides of that curve. You've got something that's cheap, but it smells like something that's not cheap. Whoa, imagine that. But I didn't want to go all colognes, so only a couple. I also put some fragrances in here that are better for younger guys and some fragrances that are better for older guys as well. So just really touching all those bases. So let's jump into it. Let's kick things off with Azzaro's Visit. This is the 6th time I've tried to say this. Azzaro is really well known for the Most Wanted and the Most Wanted Parfum and their chrome line of fragrances. There, I said it. Azzaro Visit really gets no love, but it's very affordable. You can typically find this for under 30 bucks from discounters. Has a pretty cool bottle with the built-in atomizer up top that actually works, unlike some other brands that have built-in atomizers that just suck. But the best part is, this smells similar to one Gucci Rush. This is discontinued and crazy expensive nowadays, which is a bummer because I like it a lot, but thankfully I have a bottle, so I'm good, I guess. Funny thing about this, Gucci Rush used to be really inexpensive, just like Azzaro Visit is nowadays. Actually, Gucci Rush, toward the end of its lifespan, they couldn't give this stuff away. You could find this at a clearance bin near you for basically nothing. But as happens, time passes and people go back and they revisit and they go, oh, wait a sec, that fragrance that was basically free, and yeah, the plastic does yellow over time. Oh, it's actually really good. Ah, dang it. Enter Azzaro Visit. Now you don't have to pay Gucci Rush money to get Gucci Rush. You can just pay Visit money and get something pretty close. So how does it smell? Well, it's really fresh and woody. Got kind of a green aspect to it. Very clean, but in a slightly more mature way. It has incense, cedar, gaiac wood, musk, pink pepper, and nutmeg as some of the notes in the fragrance, along with cardamom as well. I think it's a great spring, fall, winter fragrance, daytime or nighttime. It's got just the right amount of classiness while still being able to be worn casually, and it's just a great versatile scent. I know some people don't dig Visit because it does have a little bit of a throwback style to it. At this point, I mean, it's about 2 decades old, but for the price point, I think this stuff is still a winner. And if you like fragrances that were done in the style of Rush, then this should be something you love. All right, this next one is just a lights out cologne fragrance. This stuff is awesome. It's exclusive tobacco from Maison Alhambra. This is about 20 bucks, which to me feels underpriced, but I mean, I'm not gonna complain about that. It's just, it smells like one of those clones that you would expect to be more in the like 40 to 45 range. So at 20 bucks, basically it's a no-brainer. This is a clone of Carolina Herrera's Mystery Tobacco. And Mystery Tobacco is an absurdly good tobacco fragrance. It's kind of in that style of red tobacco from Mancera, but Mystery Tobacco is just smoother, it's richer, it's more elegant. It's got just a little touch of ginger and citrus off the top, you know, kind of leading you into that warm, sweet tobacco. There's patchouli and gaiac wood in there, which gives it an earthy undertone, but it's not overdone. You know, it's not dirty, it's not off-putting. It just adds to this like deepness that it has. And then you have tonka in there that just gives the right amount of sweetness. So this one, exclusive tobacco. If you want an inexpensive tobacco fragrance that's gonna smell like it costs 10 times or more the amount that you paid. Get this stuff. It's that good. All right, this one is a personal favorite of mine, Paco Rabanne XS. Not the first time that I brought XS up in a cheapie list, and it won't be the last unless they discontinue it and then it gets really expensive. Then at that point, obviously it's not gonna be in a cheapie list anymore. I am one of those people that feels like XS and black XS and pure XS, basically all the XSs from Paco Rabanne are a bit overlooked. Now, of course, they have their fans, like me, but none of those really caught on in a big way when you compare it to like the 1 million line or the Invictus line. Basically anything with an X and an S on it from Paco Rabanne is like a redheaded stepchild. Shout out to all you redheaded stepchildren out there. So this guy right here, very affordable, and it smells similar to Creed's Himalaya. I love the way this stuff smells. It's just freaking awesome. I know it's maybe not to everybody's taste, just like Creed Himalaya is not to everybody's taste, but I like it. It's a bit metallic, it's clean, it's musky, it's soapy, just very super fresh. Like when I smell this, it makes me think of a very brisk spring morning. That's kind of how this comes across. I think the packaging looks great. This is obviously the newer style bottle, the old style bottle. Cool also. Man, it's a perfect office fragrance. Really nice scent for daytime use during spring, maybe parts of summer and fall. Love this. Versace pour homme up next. This one, an easy choice because it is an easy fragrance. It's another one that's clean, has a nice freshness to it. It's got citrus in there, neroli, some other supporting floral notes, woods as well, and a bit of tonka. It doesn't really come across soapy necessarily, but it does come across very clean. Not hyper complex or anything. It's not a fragrance that's gonna change a huge amount from the opening into the dry down, but the entire time that you have this on, you're gonna be smelling very approachable, very classy, sophisticated, but with a nice casual edge. It smells similar to Missoni Wave and also Chanel Oloron Sport to an extent, but of the three, I would say that this one is the brightest of the bunch. It has long been one of Versace's most affordable fragrances, and I think as a cheapie, this is a great staple in just about anybody's collection. Now let me throw it back a little bit with this next one, Azzaro pour homme. This is an older bottle. I also have a newer bottle of this stuff, and this one is a classic barbershop scent. So if you are into fougères and you don't have this for some reason, you need to get it. What are you doing? So this one's gonna be all about that lavender, leather, oak moss, green notes, great aromatics throughout the scent here, woody notes. It's got good performance for me. It costs next to nothing nowadays. I mean, you can even find more vintage bottles of this stuff, sometimes on eBay for a pretty good price as well. Because even though this is a really well-known fragrance, and it's been out for decades, came out in the 70s, it doesn't really have as much of a cachet with the name as some of the other like classically fougère fragrances from men. Classically fougère. Classic fougère. Great scent, really affordable, absolutely worth owning if you like anything in that style. Yeah, there are two Azzaros on here, but those are the only two that I got that I'm putting in here anyway. To be frank, when you're looking for inexpensive fragrances at discounters that have more bang for their buck, Azzaro's a pretty good brand to look at, other than some of the more hyped ones, like the Most Wanted. I guess not really cheap. Let's go Blue Fragrancy up next with Jimmy Choo Man Intense. Jimmy Choo, another house that is typically very affordable from discounters. Nice atomizer on these, by the way. Yeah. This is kind of an underrated blue fragrance. Coach for Men, very solid for a good price. That one gets a lot of love. Coach Platinum, same thing. Jimmy Choo Man Intense don't really get much love, but I think they're pretty much just as good. And some people would definitely think better. Now, I would say between the original Jimmy Choo Man and Jimmy Choo Man Intense that you should go for this one if it's up for debate. I think this one is a little more solid overall, and it also gives you a bit more push, a little better projection, a little better longevity. Really appealing opening on this one. It has melon off the top. Technically, it's honeydew melon and lavender as well. It's more of a sweet lavender, so not so much aromatic. Well, there's a touch of aromatics, but it leans a little more toward the sweet side, I guess I should say. Then as it dries down, solid amount of tonka comes out that gives you that warmth and that lingering sweetness from the opening into the mid, into the dry down as it kind of hands off from the melon into the tonka. Really nearly a year-round fragrance. I think you can pull this off anytime, daytime or nighttime. Just spray a little more when it's cold out. Then we have Enigma Une from Fragrance World. This is a clone of Dior's Sauvage Elixir. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but Lattafa Assad, that is also a clone of Sauvage Elixir, and you're right, it is. I think between the two, I prefer this one. Now, when you very first spray this one on, you get hit with a big blast of spice, almost a baking spice feeling for the first minute or so, but then it settles in and smells really close to Sauvage Elixir. I think closer to Elixir than Assad. This does focus more on that kind of warm spiciness that Sauvage Elixir has, as compared to Assad, where Assad has more of like a sweetness that comes out as it dries down. This one doesn't have that quite as much, so keep that in mind. If you're a big fan of that with Assad, then Assad probably still will be the better choice for you. But side to side, I'm going with this one. I think it's a great alternative to Sauvage Elixir. It's really good quality to it as well. Longtime favorite of mine up next, Starwalker from Montblanc. I love this stuff. Always have really enjoyed this one. And it's another one that's pretty much just always been cheap. It can't hang with Explorer and Legend, you know, some of the bigger fragrances from the house. But Starwalker, I feel like, might be the best of the bunch. Just in terms of my own personal taste, I think it's more unique, stands alone, does its own thing. Because with Explorer, that smells like Aventus, right? Legend, that smells like Fierce. Starwalker, smells like Starwalker. I mean, I know it's drawn some comparisons to Versace Man Eau Fraiche, but I think it's definitely different enough from that one is not a replacement for the other. One of the things that makes this very interesting is the note of bamboo, which is a top note in the fragrance, and it gives it this green, slightly aquatic feel, very fresh, clean, and relaxing. You have a smooth, almost creamy citrus in there as well, melding together with that bamboo and then sandalwood as it dries down. It's sweet, but not overdone, kind of like a light sweetness. It's fresh without being like a sporty fragrance. A lot of people actually wear this before they go to bed because they do find it, as I said before, really relaxing and calming. Just love this stuff. Great bang for the buck. This one, not quite as relaxing, a bit stronger. Fusion DC Extreme. This is very coconut forward and very strong. So some of the notes in this fragrance alongside that coconut are mint, solar notes, mineral notes, and sandalwood. It's a summer fragrance, but a loud one. So you have to kind of dial down the sprays a bit if you're wearing this in the middle of summer. Because while, yeah, it's got like a freshness to it, it does have just a big punch as well. So if you go heavy, it's not gonna smell so pleasant. It's gonna be a little overwhelming, you know, a little bit cloying, a little off-putting, so keep that in mind. And this is one that, kind of like over here with Jimmy Choo Man Intense, if you were looking at Fusion DC and Fusion DC Extreme, I would go for the Extreme if you were gonna get just one. And actually, some places the Extreme is cheaper than the normal one. So yeah, kind of a win-win. Tarothy Blue up next. This stuff is fantastic for the price. Don't really dig the bottle because it has a propensity to like not really sit very well. Yeah, it's a little whatever. Yeah, it does that. So you have to kind of be careful when you put it back up on your shelf that you don't sit it up there a little haphazardly, because then it's gonna fall and take some other things out with it. But that's not really a big deal. Just be careful with your bottles. This one has an amazing opening. Can't get the, there we go. Can't get the cap back on. Woo, it's just that citrusy opening. It's everything you want in a citrus open. It's sweet, it's fresh, it's uplifting, it's eye-opening. It smells expensive, it smells high quality. It's a clone of Bvlgari's Tygar. That's what you got here. And there's really like not much to say negatively about this one other than the bottle. That's pretty much it. Because the opening is amazing, the dry down smells great as well, the performance is good, the quality is there. This is top-notch stuff. Then we have Mustache, but this is Eau de Toilette. This is not the Eau de Parfum. The Eau de Parfum is the mustache that everybody loves. The Eau de Toilette, doesn't get as much love. Now this is gonna be for a particular person. It has classically masculine feel to it. It has a resemblance to Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette from Dior. So yeah, it's gonna be more old school, kind of that fougere feel going through this, you know, that barbershop kind of essence, if you wanna call it that, but it is a fresher take on that style than Azzaro Pour Homme is. Lemon, bergamot, lavender, oak moss, some of the notes in the fragrance. The lemon here, it's not as sharp as you're going to find in Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette, but it does have more sharpness than you would find in most modern men's fragrances. Great, classic smelling cologne fragrance for men. Don't know why I did that. Cologne. Last but not least, Hugo, just different. Now, my thought process anytime I see a Hugo fragrance in the canteen is, it's probably gonna smell pretty freaking cheap, and will be pretty freaking cheap. Most of them from discounters don't cost very much at all. This one is one of the cheapest of the whole bunch. Now, if you look at this, you've never smelled it, you look at that, see that matte black bottle, you probably think, oh, it's gonna be kind of a darker fragrance, right? Probably smoky, woody, something like that. And then you spray it on, and that is not what it is. It's actually very green and fresh and sweet. It has mint, basil, freesia, and cashmere in it, some of the notes in the fragrance, along with a heaping dose of green apple off the top, which makes it almost start to be more modern again, where we're getting more green stuff here lately. So when you spray it on, it's very, very brisk and fresh, and like I said, has a heaping dose of sweetness in there. As it dries down, a lot of that sweetness kind of trickles away, and then it becomes more almost woody aromatic. Really nice versatility to it. Performance is so-so. It's not as good as a lot of these here, but where it is so cheap, if you want to spray more, you can. Probably wouldn't though, because the opening, if you spray really heavy, it's gonna be probably headache inducing. But it's a great bang for your buck. You get good versatility. Like I said, it's kind of coming back around with the green stuff that we've had lately. And it smells a lot better than you'd expect. Frankly, when you compare this to a lot of the other Hugo canteen bottles, this one smells not cheap compared to some of those. Boom, there we go. 12 different cheapies. All of these, I think, punch way outside their weight class when we're talking about how much they go for. Just some great buys. Thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there and take care of yourselves. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.